All right, everybody, welcome to New Media Patriot Radio, the show about you, the concerned citizen, the silent majority, the politically incorrect, the social media patriot fighting every single day to restore American values and exceptionalism. I'm your host, Chris, and you can follow us on Twitter at ThePatriot143 or at NMP Radio. It stands for New Media Patriot Radio. Also, give us a follow on Spreaker, please. I'm at about 400. I want to get to 1,000 by the end of the month. So if you can help me out there, that would be great. Visit Spreaker right now and look for New Media Patriot Radio. Also, visit our website, newmediapatriotradio.com. And I want to thank ICRN, or the new home for conservative talk radio, conservativeradionetwork.com. Visit them right now. Actually, I'm being syndicated live via their network. And check them out. They have a slew of other shows, and one of my guests actually is on that network that's coming on tonight. He's on that network, and I want to thank everybody that's working for ICRN for making that website what it is, and they're working really, really hard. So please give them a follow on Twitter as well. That's ICRN on Twitter, and give them a follow, please. Those people are doing a magnificent job out there. So I guess the number to call here, please, we want audience participation today. This show's about you. It's always been about you. And, give me a call at 347-338-1775. All right, so I'm a New Yorker, and let me tell you, last night, it reminded me when I played baseball. As a kid, I remember sleeping with my uniform the night before a game, and sleeping with my baseball bats and my glove, and just waking up in the morning. Couldn't wait to wake up in the morning to hit the field at 8 o'clock in the morning and start playing baseball. That was my love. That was my life growing up. Till I turned 30. Actually, I continued to play all the way through 30. But that's what last night reminded me of, knowing that I was going to be able to vote today. And there's no secret about it. I am a Donald Trump supporter, a diehard Donald Trump supporter, and if you listen to the show, you know my reasons why. But that's how I was. I basically slept with a Donald Trump shirt. Make America Great. As corny as that may sound, I did, and I woke up early in the morning. And I went to vote, and I voted for Donald Trump. I took a picture of the ballot, and I tweeted it out. I think it got over like 350 retweets. I want to thank everybody for retweeting it. Everybody's super excited here in New York City. I had no issues at the ballot. But, New York, there's 95 delegates at stake in New York, and it's important for Donald Trump to win a big majority. And initially, I thought it wouldn't be easy, but according to the exit polls, I mean, they got him at 56%. There are 14 statewide delegates and 3 delegates in each congressional district, which that's the tricky part, is the congressional districts. He's got to get over 50% there to win the 3 delegates in each congressional district. But I think it's doable. I feel confident that he's going to be doing really well. But before I go any further, I want to welcome in my sort of co-host and guest for the night. I want to welcome in Matt Locke from the Matt Locke Show. He is part of the ICRN network, and I just got a message from ICRN. Actually, it's their Twitter handle is @LibertyCRN. So it's @LibertyCRN. Follow them on Twitter, please. So I want to welcome in Matt Locke. How are you, Matt Locke?
Well, I'm good, Chris, and thank you again for having me on your show. I'm truly honored and ready to talk about a lot of things politics. I wish I was in New York.
Yeah, it's so much fun here. I went to the poll site with my shirt on that I slept in. I went and I voted like a little kid. I've never been this excited. But
well, what's funny, Chris, is Indiana is May 3rd, and we finally are going to get to be relevant. I mean, I'm the same way as you. I cannot wait to get to the polls May 3rd because we're actually going to be relevant. They just set up Donald Trump's campaign office down on State Street in Fort Wayne on Monday. So
wonderful.
If you listen to my show today, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about your show in a second. I want to welcome in my second co-host / guest for the day, for the night. It's actually HC from Hardcore America. Welcome to the Silent Majority, brother.
Thanks, Chris.
Did I get that right? Hardcore America?
Hardcore America. That's right.
There it is. So
you from the great state of Louisiana.
Louisiana. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I want to welcome you to the Silent Majority here. So let's get right into it, boys. I mean, I know hardcore. You've been on my show before. Matlock, you've been on my show, just not at the same time. So hardcore, HC, give us a brief description of your show and what it's about. I know I've listened to it in the past, but tell the audience if they don't know.
Well, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it.
Right.
But you're probably still going to listen.
Right. You know, it's funny because off the air, I basically described Matlock's show. You know, I always say Matlock and Gavin Mitchell, they belong to the ICRN family or the ConservativeRadioNetwork.com family. As am I. I'm part of the family there. And those two guys can tell a story and can actually draw you in such a way where you can understand. It's very educational. And you do it in a different way. You actually are like a shock jock, a political shock talk guy, right?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. You could basically term it as a conservative, truthful Howard Stern type program.
Well, I love it. Let me tell you, I love it. So let's get right into it, boys. So today, obviously, like I mentioned, I was listening to Matt Locke's show before the show, and boy, I love it when you're angry. Anytime I get a text from you that says, Chris, you have to listen to my show. It was a great show. I go, I got to listen to it right away. I always do listen to it. But when you tell me, when you put that much impetus in it, I say, I have to listen to it right now. And let me tell you, the most surprising part of that whole show was the fact that you actually threw 95 miles an hour. I couldn't top that. I used to throw 90 miles an hour, and I thought that was fast.
I brought it in the day. Tommy John surgery took care of that, though. So
okay, well, that was the most surprising part. But really? No, I'm just joking. Let's talk about your show. And you were talking about Ted Cruz and how if after tonight, if Donald Trump sweeps New York, that it's time to start thinking about an exit strategy. Is that what your show? Am I correct in stating?
Somewhat of the gist, Chris. I mean, here's the deal, and here's what I talked about today, and I chewed on it all day, and I'm an absolute political junkie. I read everything. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here listening to the liberal media tell me that Donald Trump is so terrible, blah, blah, blah. But yet Ted Cruz and John Kasich can't beat him, but Hillary takes him to task. So my point is, we've got New York here, which Donald Trump is just going to romp and stomp. I mean, if he's going to come out with at least 80 delegates, maybe more, depending on the congressional districts. And that's just the way it is. And now Tuesday of next week, the 26th, we go into Maryland and Connecticut and Delaware and Pennsylvania and 5 states where Donald Trump is going to win the brunt of those delegates. So at some point, you've got to look at this. And Ted Cruz keeps saying, and I'm going to tell you, I'm a Ted Cruz guy. I mean, I like Ted Cruz. I don't have anything against Ted Cruz. I don't have anything against Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump gets a very bad rap. Mm-hmm. But at some point, when Donald Trump is sitting at 1,050 and Ted Cruz is sitting at 600, 650 delegates, right. When are you the man and say, you know what, I don't want a contested convention? Because my whole point of today's show was, if we go to a contested convention, Ted Cruz and Donald Trump lose. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not just Donald Trump. Ted Cruz loses. And I mean, Eric Erickson over at Red States has got a little ridiculousness going on for Donald Trump here and keeps, calling all the stuff that Donald Trump can't win. Donald Trump is the front runner. Mm-hmm. Why is the media? I mean, this is a concerted effort by the liberal left media and the establishment media on the right to kind of scare you into thinking that Donald is worse than anything. And you know who piped up today? China. Right. China is scared that Donald Trump might be president and actually do what he says.
I said this in previous shows. I said, when you have the Pope, when you have past and present Mexico leaders and everybody in the world wanting to stop Donald Trump, he's your guy. You know what I mean? So yes. Now, HC, I want to go to you. How do you feel about what Matlock just said in regards to Ted Cruz?
Well, first of all, Ted Cruz, when you talk about in terms of political strategy, Ted Cruz would perform underneath Romney in 2012. That's a sad thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got a guy who surgically targets specific voter blocks and fails on his face miserably at it. But in reference to Donald Trump is the only one, literally the only candidate we've ever had that has put the media in a corner while taking 95% of their programming.
Mm-hmm.
Because the media has had to prop up our presidential candidates.
Right.
They've always done it, both on the Republican side and the Democrat side.
Right.
No one has to prop up Donald Trump. He can prop himself up.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're listening to The Silent Majority here. I'm your host, Chris, and on the Rebooting Liberty Hotline, I have my guests for the night. I have two guests, actually, and two co-hosts. I have Matt Locke from The Matt Locke Show, and I have HC from Hardcore America Radio. And the number to call is 347-338-1775. At this time, I want to pick up Sean from New Hampshire. Sean from New Hampshire, welcome to The Silent Majority.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. How are you?
You're welcome. How are you?
Not too bad. I was calling in about a couple different things to do with this whole Trump and Cruz thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to admit, I'm biased. I've been a Republican my whole life, but I haven't liked Cruz for the last 5 years. I think he is a very calculating and fake kind of a person. But that being said, he keeps running around talking about how Donald has no policies when he has co-opted most of his policies.
Well, that's why. Well, that's just it. He has no policies because Ted Cruz took them all. But,
Ted Cruz liked him so much that he fancied him.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but then he runs around saying everywhere he can get a chance that Donald has no idea what he's doing. He has no ground game, yet he whipped his butt all through South Carolina, the South, and all the evangelicals.
This is the thing.
And it's just every time he opens up his mouth, like a lie falls out.
This is a thing, and Donald Trump said it very eloquently. He said that he basically said that Ted Cruz's campaign strategy, Donald Trump's campaign strategy is to win with voters, and Ted Cruz is to win despite them. And as you can see from all the news coming out from states that have voted already, that all this delegate heist and stuff like that, he's really, really opening the eyes of the American people. And I said this before, and I'll say it again: if it wasn't for Donald Trump, Ted Cruz would be the one complaining about the heist, and he'd be complaining about Jeb Bush taking his delegates. But I want to go to Matt Locke on this. Matt Locke, you want to respond to this?
Well, yeah, Chris. I mean, and it's a good, valid point. And like I said before, my policies and my views don't lie with either or. I'm a realist.
Right.
And I come at this thing and I look at this thing, and I said it in my show today. If we end up at a contested convention, neither wins. Neither wins. We've got the mailman's son, who they're going to pop in there because he's won one state. They're going to try to change all the rules right before the convention, and this thing's going to be chaos. And if you really are a true American, if you really believe in this country and you believe in the principles that it's founded on, and you believe in this Constitution and everything that Ted Cruz tells you that he believes in, then at some point he comes along and says, you know what, I don't have a chance, but Donald does. Now, you've got all these people out there voting saying, you know what, I want some real change. I want to see what happens if Donald Trump is the president, period. And then the offshoot of that is the liberal media, the little good old lapdogs, like HC just said. It's amazing. Donald Trump is funding himself. He has taken over all of the media, yet he gets all the coverage. And yet he is still winning. Could you imagine if he were Mitt Romney, or if he were somebody that the media, that the establishment actually liked? This thing would be over.
Yeah, it would. And
could you imagine if the media hit Ted Cruz the way that they have Donald Trump?
Well, they don't like Ted Cruz either, HC. That's the problem.
Yeah,
but yeah, if they hit him,
they leave him alone.
Yeah, that's actually, that was Sean.
Because they know that he can't win one state that Romney lost.
Yeah, and that's just
so they know Hillary will win.
And this is what,
leave him alone.
Before
Chris, did you see Christina Pearson, what she said on Breitbart today?
No, what did she say?
There was an article written today, and she makes a great point. Ted Cruz, all the states that Ted Cruz has won so far in these primaries are all Republican states. The states that Donald has won, he brings in Florida. He brings in New York. He brings in states that, once Ted Cruz is out of the picture, Donald Trump's going to get Ted Cruz's states.
Yeah.
Because